Hello everyone, today we are at OlgaShow with one of the famous speakers at BitCoin conference in San Jose, California, May 18th, 2013. Here we are with Alan Reiner. He is co-founder of Armory company.
Armory Technologies.
Armory Technologies. So tell us about yourself and BitCoin introduction into your life.
So I grew up as someone who's very interested in math, and I studied math throughout high school and college, and then got a master's degree in mathematics with a focus on cryptography, and amongst other things, I did engineering and cryptography. And I was introduced to Bitcoin a couple years ago, and I found myself with a very unique skill set that I was able to actually develop for Bitcoin. While we'd like Bitcoin to be easy to use, it's still very difficult to develop and create things, the software for it. And I found I had just the perfect background for it. So Armory is an application that takes years of theory that as Bitcoin started up, and Bitcoin was just still very small, and a very small community of people with very limited resources. They talked about things that could be done for security and usability, but no one was doing it. And as I entered, I realized I had all the skills that I needed to do it, and it was in very high demand. And now we get like 10,000 downloads a month for the software because we succeeded at bringing this capability to people who use the Bitcoin network, and they didn't have that before.
So, which city are you from? Because it looks
Maryland.
like you sound like a geek guy.
Yes, absolutely. I'm from Maryland, Silver Spring, Maryland.
Okay.
But I mean, guess the location isn't as important as, I grew up, my dad's a mathematician, and that's how I, grew up. So yes, geek is the correct word, and I'm not ashamed of that.
No, I'm supporting geeks
Yes.
and talent because I know without the movers and shakers in any industry, we would not be able to live better life as we live right now. Somebody has to step in, step out, and do the work, hard work, and you will be excited about it. If no excitement and enthusiasm, nothing would be able to happen. I mean, you can talk all you want, but you have to work.
And I'll tell you, the enthusiasm has been phenomenal here at the conference. It's funny how you receive emails of people with problems or with bugs to report, and you get this impression that no one is enjoying your software. But I come here and I see that there's thousands of people who all use the software, and they're all very excited about it. So it's been feel a little bit like a celebrity, actually, which is first time in my life.
It's actually unusual feelings, right?
Yes.
When people recognize you and you're like, how do you know me?
Yeah, exactly.
How did you see me? How did you hear? And it's like you probably feel like a red face a little bit, blush in your face. But I heard a lot about you during today because I took interview with quite a few companies already, and security and cryptography was in high demand. And of course, everybody wants to have secure money exchange, Bitcoin exchange, and
Right.
we're talking about different companies as well and countries. That's a big concern. So how do you see yourself working in the future? You have 10,000 downloads, every day or every month?
Every month.
Every month, and of course that will be growing because the more people using Bitcoins, the more you have to.
And I mean, I think one of the fundamental problems of Bitcoin, well, of any security system, is that the easy solution is always the least secure solution. That the more security you want, the less convenient it's going to be. No one wants to drive to a safe deposit box in a bank every time they want to buy a candy bar at 7-Eleven. There's going to be some balance that you have to manage when handling Bitcoins as well. And right now, there's a whole lot of easy solutions. So many other companies are innovating the easy solutions, and no one was really innovating that security part. But we believe, and I believe, that we can actually get that security and convenience in the same place. I mean, there's always going to be a cost to doing security, but we want to have people, say, I have a lot of money. This is, what do I do with it? Well, Armory is the solution, and I actually am surprised that a lot of people. I'm surprised that companies are talking about Armory, but I mean, it has been successful at being the solution for the people who are most paranoid and most concerned about security.
Now, are we talking about your company helping during transaction on the internet, or?
So my company, the software that we write doesn't hold any money. So us as a company, we don't hold any money.
Right.
We don't control anyone's money. We can't take anyone's money. You can think of Armory as a piece of software that helps you print and write checks and sign checks. That it is simply for helping you interact with the Bitcoin network. And the problem is that a lot of ways to interact with the network is either inconvenient or insecure. And so we're covering the security side of that and working on bringing that security into convenience. So luckily, and from a business perspective, it's great actually that we have no interest in the users in actual money, that we don't control it, we don't have any regulatory obligations for that we're simply writing a program that makes it as easy as possible for people to interact with the network, but in a secure way.
Now, of course, me being trying to be comfortable in my life and going to a lot of high-tech conferences here in Silicon Valley, being blessed, being in San Jose and San Francisco close by, I see a lot of high-tech conferences going on around. Mobile devices, is your software also can help with mobile devices, Bitcoins exchange?
We are working on that. That is one of those aspects of usability.
I should be consultant for you now.
No, I mean, we recognize that as, mobile devices are not the most secure devices, and
it still requires work.
But that's in the works. I mean, we want to actually leverage the benefits of mobile devices. For instance, that in any security system, you end up with single points of failure, whether someone gets your bank password and figures out how to move your money. Or there's a variety of things where there's one point of failure for that security system. And one of the cool things that you can do with Bitcoin is you can actually say have your computer and your phone, and they've never talked to each other, and the network requires you to press a button on both your computer and your phone. And so even though the phone technically is less secure just by its nature of being connected to everything all at once, the fact that two different devices have to be accessed in order to spend your fund dramatically increases security. And so far, no one's doing that. And I'm pretty sure we'll be the first.
So in terms of work business, you have 10,000 downloads. So you get the money usually from downloads, or you have
We don't get any money. We don't get any money right now. I mean, I've been working a full-time job for the last 18 months, and this has been a hobby for me, actually. I've developed this in my free time, and I get some donations, but it hasn't been substantial. And so just now have we looked at this and said, you know what, we have a lot of users and a lot of companies who are actually depending on us. There are ways to make money on this, and I think people
part comes
right. And so we're trying to tie up some loose ends in terms of usability and kind of getting everything polished, and then we're going to look at one of the things that we want to do is that there's a lot of users that don't know what to do with their Bitcoins. Bitcoin is still very young. There's not a lot of merchants that accept it, but there are merchants out there. It's just that they're not being connected. Now, of course, that's an intelligent sounding way of justifying advertising. I'm going to help companies and users connect. So one of the things that we can do is, one, we can just advertise. We can actually put advertisements in the software, but we're not a big fan of that because it kind of pollutes the thing. What we really want to do is something called integrated services, where the user actually has an interface to the merchant. So for instance, you want to buy something. There's a merchant that supplies gold coins for Bitcoin, and you would, rather than actually going to that merchant's website, you could access it through Armory, and you would say, I want this gold coin, and you say, yes, I agree, and your balance is reduced by 14 Bitcoins, and 2 days later the Bitcoin shows up, and you never left the application. And additionally, we can do it more securely than if you had gone to their website, done it. So it's really like win-win-win all around, and we think that that's something that we benefit from, users benefit from, merchants benefit from. So that's one of the places. And the other thing is that we have a lot of people, now that we have the reputation of being the security company, a lot of people who are interested in contacting security specialists, for consulting and training.
Yes, because the more you work on it, the more you have the knowledge and expertise to offer to others.
Yeah.
And enthusiasm helps to promote this, so you will be constantly updated or updating yourself what's going on in the same industry. Why Bitcoins, not any other field in your industry?
I mean, Bitcoin is probably one of the, I mean, you know, I look and say, why is no one else doing what I'm doing? I mean, there are people who are developing for Bitcoin, but it just fits so perfectly into my skill set and my politics as well, with a, you know, bit of skepticism about big banks and all the financial crises of recent, and seeing that this is a system that restores some control to the individual users as opposed to just a couple, you know, major banks that are calling the shots. So there just seems to be so many benefits of the system, and you don't even need to have everyone in the world use it for it to be successful. So you know, I can get into it and try to make a contribution, and so far it's been successful, and it turns out I love it too. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Very good. And as a speaker, what do you talk about it? About security on the Bitcoin?
Well, so a lot of companies, you know, one of the problems that Bitcoin is going to have to get over, you may have just seen, I was on a security panel discussion, is, you know, one of the problems with Bitcoin is that, you know, now security is in the hands of the user. And, you know, while banks are well financed for dealing with security and bank guards and protocols, it's not there for Bitcoin yet. And if a company wants to start handling Bitcoin, they don't know what to do. I mean, they could go look up some stuff on a wiki page somewhere or read some forum posts, but there's not really, you know, they want someone who's trusted, who can tell them, guide them, train them for how to do this. And the nice thing is it's mostly a one-time cost on their part. You know, you don't want to, you know, one of the benefits of Bitcoin is you're removing the middleman. You don't want to now reintroduce it by having to hire a security specialist. You know, we think that we can train you to do it, and that then you win overall, because we only train, you know, once, and that, you know, we still benefit because there's a lot of companies who are interested in that.
Now, talking about our viewers and who will be seeing this show, what would you wish them in life and in terms of Bitcoins, of course?
I would say don't ignore Bitcoin. I mean, there's a lot of people who kind of brush it off. They think it's crazy, it's not possible. That, you know, even if Bitcoin itself, as it is today, does not succeed, something will. Because what Bitcoin did was it has proved that it's possible for there to actually be a system of moving value across the world that doesn't depend on Western Union or doesn't depend on Visa. That it's actually possible to distribute that to all the users. And you know, I think this is just a breakthrough in technology, and that this is only, whether it's Bitcoin or some other related technology, it's only going to get bigger, not smaller.
So it's basically internet money could be accessible in all of the countries and places as long as they accept it. And I can even create my Olga coin, OlgaShow coin, and as long as they like OlgaShow coin, and I can say I get 1 million OlgaShow coin, you can get them, or you can get to my interview if you pay by OlgaShow coin, or whatever.
Well, I mean, ideally you'd be doing, you know, right now you'd be processing Bitcoin, but you know, one of the big burdens to businesses is that in order to process payments, they need to buy payment processing stuff from Visa. They have to pay the 3%.
Yeah, it gets costly.
And they have to deal with fraud, you know, and that's something that just doesn't exist. I can actually sell stuff to people in Malaysia or Nigeria, and when the money comes to my business from Nigeria, I know that it's mine. That the fraud is not there, and you didn't pay someone to do that. The network was preventing that fraud for you for essentially free. And I think that's why this is going to be so substantial, because people are now seeing the potential of that system.
And you don't pay to the system to make that exchange. Like, I know now the information because I can get it through the internet. Perhaps I don't have to pay newspapers, I just get it from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also created for the people, by the people.
Exactly. I mean, one of the neat things about Bitcoin is there are, for people that, you know, they hear the word decentralized and they don't really understand what that means. In this case, what it means is that there, you know, in every payment system in the world, besides Bitcoin, there is a central processor. There's either a bank, there's companies that are processing these things. And what decentralized means here is that literally there is no one person who is more important than the other. the network is made up of all equally created people, and you could actually remove 90% of those people from the network and it will still operate fine. And that is something that's so powerful because it's censorship free. It's, we'd like to say it's regulation free, but there's, you know, it's not there. You know, there's just so many benefits to having a system that's not run by one company that has a profit motive or one, you know, organization that has a
It's
complete control.
available in many places, in many countries. I mean, as long as country accepted or the business accepted, and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to wait over Sunday to finish the
Right.
transaction, or perhaps your paycheck would not be held for 3 days, and you will be like, what am I gonna eat for 3 days now?
I'll tell you, one of the things about Bitcoin that some people like and don't like is that it takes 10 to 60 minutes for you to be really sure that money is yours. When someone sends you money, 10 to 60 minutes. That's if there's zero trust, that I can sell someone something in Nigeria, and the money that they send me, after 60 minutes, I know it's mine. There's no way for them to reverse that. For buying a candy bar at a store, you can't wait 60 minutes. But on the other hand, if you're a company doing a multi-million-dollar business deal, it doesn't matter whether it takes a day, it's still faster than all the alternatives, and it was free. So there are virtues to that, you know, unfortunately it is constant, but that's the way the system works, is that 10 to 60 minutes is what you're waiting, and for a lot of places in the world, that's okay. But it may not be, it doesn't fit everything. So, you know, there's some concern about, you know, that's what people are trying to innovate, is how can they still leverage it without, you know, for stuff like point of sale, where you walk into a store, will Bitcoin be feasible for that? And it's not exactly what I'm working on, but it's something that is trying to be innovated to how can we do this in a secure way.
Great. So with us was Alan Reiner, co-founder of Armory, all the way from East Coast, here in Silicon Valley at BitCoin conference in May 18th, 2013. And thank you for listening and being with us. Thank you, Alan.
Olga.
Thank you. And I know I will see you again at another
Yes.
Bitcoin conference, or maybe even beyond. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I know it will be happening. We never meet people just for no reason. Another talented person here in Silicon Valley, all the way from East Coast.
Thank you.
Thanks. So yeah, we should probably do pictures also
Sure.
behind your